Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the session. I think so for the online guys, hope my voice is clear for you. Can you please confirm me once whether I'm audible or not? If it is clear, we can start the session now. Okay, fine. Okay, so let's begin the session. I think in the few sessions ago, like we discussed about few points, like we have seen what is DevOps in the day one, as well as in the day two, we have seen about the software architectures. So before I start the session, like I would like to know how many of you are like, new for today's session, day one. Raise your hands. Okay. So guys, till now only two sessions has been completed. Those two are completely theoretical part. Okay. So practical part, we haven't started anything. So today is the first practical part. After the session, we are going to provide you the recording links of the previous session. Like means whatever we have seen on the day one, day two, we are going to send you the recordings. Please see that recordings. After that, we are also going to provide the backup class for all of you. Okay. But remember, today is our first practical class. Okay. So nothing that we have done anything so far. Fine. So here in today's session, we are going to discuss about what is an EC2. So this already I have given overview for my previous session, guys. Okay. For the new people, I'm going to start it one more time for you. So let's go ahead and discuss like what exactly this EC2 means. So today I'm going to start the concept of server. What is the name of the concept? Okay. So before I start and proceed the concept of server, my first question for all of you. So is the board visible for all of you? Everyone? Okay, fine. So now my question is like, what is the meaning of server? So already the people who listen to the previous session, you might have some idea. Server is nothing but which serves the services to the end user. So simply what I can call as server serves the services to end user. You can call it as end user or still you can call it as user. Fine. So now my question is, previously before this session, how many of you heard the word about server? Like before coming to this session, like this is the first time you might heard about server. But my question is, previously, have you ever heard about server? Okay. My question is like, what is the importance of server? If we don't have server, what will happen? Can anyone detail me about this one? For example, for a single day, let's assume we don't have any servers in the world for a single day. You know what will happen? Sorry? We cannot use any application. Correct. Second one. First one is correct. We cannot use any application. Second one. We cannot get the weather reports. Correct. And third one. Communication will be completely lost. Okay. So I'll tell you the simple example of why we need to use servers. Guys, if you go to anywhere in the modern days, completely we are depending upon the applications only. See, previously, if you want to get some food, you need to go by cycle or you need to go by bike and you need to get the food. But simply with one click, can you able to order any kind of food or not, sir? First one. And second one, previously, if you want to go for movie, directly you need to go to the theater and you need to just wait for minutes and hours to get one ticket, right? But nowadays, with the help of single click, are you going to get the movie tickets or not? Like this, few years ago, I'm not talking about now. Few years ago, if you want to do any kind of work, you need to invest your time and you need to invest your money. Correct or not, sir? But in the modern days, we are investing the money, but time we are not investing. Why? Because everything you can do within one click. If you want to order some food, one click is enough. Or if you want to like go for a movie, one click is enough. Or if you want to buy any product, even clothing, even groceries, or like anything within one click, all these are available or not. How these are available means all these we are getting from the apps. That is, we can call as applications. How we are getting? Applications. So now come to the point here, straightforward point. everything we are using from the applications only. What is the major advantage of applications? It is going to save our lot of time. Of course, money, even though if you go for restaurant or even though if you pay from online, same amount will be there. Of course, some amount of difference will be there. But if you go to restaurant or if you go to any of the store, you are investing 30 minutes of time to buy a product. But in online, how many minutes you are investing? How many minutes? Within mostly 1 or 2 minutes, correct or not, sir? That means with the help of the application, the major advantage is we can save our time. What we can save? So this is the first thing. Sir, here we are talking about the server, but why we are choosing the applications means here, understand whatever the applications you are using currently, it might be any kind of application. So all these applications will be on your servers. Where these are on? Now imagine, if there is no server, how the applications will run? Whatever the applications you are using it to save your time, money, and energy. So all these three will be saved. But for example, if you want to use the application need to be reside on server. That means we will put the application on server. What if we don't have any server? How will the applications run? Will the applications going to run if you don't have any server? No. So the first thing as a software engineer you need to understand is if there is no server, there is no applications. And if there is no applications, your time will be wasted, your money will be costed, and you need to spend your lot of energy. Okay. So that is the reason why I am starting our DevOps course with the servers. If you don't understand the concept of servers, you cannot learn anything. That is the reason I'm starting everything with the server point. Okay. So now if you come to the point of server, server means which serves the services to the end user. So I'll explain this point in a diagrammatical way. But before I go and explain this point, is the importance of server clear for all of you know? What are the three important things you need to remember? Servers used to deploy the application. That means to host actually. If we don't have servers, we cannot run the applications. Tell me, if we can't run the applications, what will happen? Time will be wasted. Second thing, money will be wasted. Third one, energy. So I am talking about in general way. Okay. Without going to any technical term, I am talking about what are the issues that we are going to face. Okay, then fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a presentation, and in this presentation, I'm going to explain you about how this is not going to. So let me open Canva for you. So this is our presentation. EC2. So you can see it here. So what is the first slide here you are seeing? Can anyone read this for me? It's Amazon EC2. Okay. Sir, we are talking about servers, but why it is written Amazon EC2 means, guys, here which cloud we are learning? AWS. Remember, this course is not DevOps, it is DevOps with AWS. That means apart from DevOps, here you are also going to learn AWS as well as some of the Linux part also. That means you are going to have three things: DevOps, AWS, and Linux. Okay. So in the AWS cloud, we are going to call our server as EC2. What we are going to call it as? EC2 stand for Elastic Compute Cloud. I'll explain this later, but before that, let's go to the server basic example. So if we go to the example of server, first of all, already you know, what are the examples that I'm going to teach you? First of all, we'll be going into general life example. Next, that example is going to convert into the technical aspect. So if you want to understand the concept of server here, first of all, you need to comfortable with this basic example, which you have already faced on your common life. Tell me one thing, how many of you go to restaurant frequently? Restaurants, man, you don't go to frequent, huh? I'm asking you to raise the hand. How many of you go for the restaurant frequently? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boys, what about you? Only Swiggy and Zomato, na? Okay, fine. So if you go to the example of this server, by this we can derive the definition of our server exactly. See, for example, here there are 3 people in the image. So person 1, person 2, and person 3. Okay. So let's consider it as a family. For example, it's me, as well as it is one of my child, and it is one of my wife. Of course, like a one of means I don't have multiple wives. Okay. Just for example, I'm taking this one. So let's consider here we are having 3 people. See, I want to order biryani. What I want to order here? Biryani. This kid want to order some sweet. And this lady want to order some salad. Why? Because she is on diet now. Okay. So first of all, when the server comes to the person 1, he is telling that I want biryani. I want to, like, I am very hungry. I want some chicken biryani or mutton biryani. Now, what is the work of this server? She will go to the kitchen and she is going to bring the biryani. Now, user 1 requirement will be satisfied or not, sir? Now, again, the same server will approach the person number 2. Now, what is the person number 2 requirement? Sweet. So this small kid is fond of sweets. So he want to order a sweet called kunafa. I think all of you know kunafa, right? If you don't know, just go and try it. It is going to be one of the amazing dish. Okay, fine. So this small kid is fond of sweets. So he want to order kunafa. Now he said the same thing to the server. Now what server will do? She will go to the kitchen and she is going to bring the kunafa sweet or not, sir? Now the requirement of person number 2 is also done. And now the third requirement. So this lady want to order some salad. Now what this server will do? Server will take input from the lady. She want to order salad. And now the same server will go to the kitchen and she is going to bring the salad or not, sir? Now user number 3, requirement done or not? That means if we speak about the general example, the meaning of the server means it will take input from the user. And according to that input, it is going to satisfy the user requirement or not, sir? That means it is going to serve the user. What is going to happen here? Serve. So this is the general thing, what exactly we are going to experience in the normal world. Now, if I compare the same example with technical field, for example, let me open the Paint and just explain you the small point here. So if you go and check here, for example, let's take an application called Paytm. Which application I am taking? So in Paytm, we have some services called Paytm Movies. Paytm Movies. Let me make it some large. And second one will be Paytm Prime Service Recharge. Let's take these 3 as the example. So in the restaurant, person 1 want biryani, person 2 want sweet, and person 3 need. But in the same example here, person 1 want to access the movies, person 2 want to access the train tickets, person 3 want to access the. Now let's convert into the technical field. For example, as a person 1, what exactly I'm trying to do is I'll go to the Google and I'm gonna type Paytm Movies. Now server is taking the request and sending me the response or not, sir? Just like the lady has taken the requirement from the person number 1 and deliver the biryani for the person number 1. Here also, my server has taken the request from me. What is my request? I want to get the movies. Am I getting movie tickets or not? Like that. Similarly, what is my person number 2 requirement here? Train. Now again, I'll go to the browser here and I'm going to try to ask to my server Paytm train tickets. If I hit enter, automatically I'm getting my train service or not, sir? Are able to book or not? Just like the server served the suite for the person number 2, here also my server serving the train tickets. Similarly, in the third way, so this person number 3 is going to order salad there, but here he is going to order recharge. Now I'm requesting my server. Is my server taking the request and sending me the response or not, sir? So that is the reason why we have derived the definition called server serves the services to the. So here services means a part of application. For example, in the Paytm application, you have a lot of features, right? So movies, Prime, recharge. So all of these features can be called as services. And here, who is the end user? The person who is using the application is called the end user. That means we are going to call as end user. For example, we are using a lot of application like Facebook, Instagram, and a lot of things. So all of us are going to call as end user. So now tell me, what is the definition of server? Server serves the services to end user. So is the point number one clear for all of you? Online, can you please confirm, is the definition number one clear for all of you or not? And one more thing. So from tomorrow, we will try to change the session. Why? Because the room is so suffocating. Actually, I can see a lot of the things on your faces. But from tomorrow, we'll be going some other classes. Why? Because it's more sweating right for all of you. Even though the AC is on there, like a lot of people are sweating here, but fine. From tomorrow, we will take care of the new, like new class. Okay. So now here, if you can go and see, the definition of server is done. Now, if we call our server in our AWS cloud, I'm going to talk about the cloud. If we talk about the types of servers, there will be majorly three categories. How many categories? I'm going to talk it as types. First one, physical server. Physical server. Second one will be virtual server. Okay. So these two I'm going to explain now. So coming to the type of servers, how many servers we are going to have? Physical as well as. Sir, what is the meaning of physical? You know, some servers are going to be installed on our companies. For example, if I'm working on a company called Google, or if I'm working on a company called TCS or any other way. Okay. So here I'm gonna install my servers on my own company. So these servers will take a lot of time to install, as well as it is going to be very cost. So before cloud comes into the market, lot of people will be depending on the physical servers. Which servers? So physical servers can also be called as on-prem servers. What kind of servers? See, in physical server, we have a lot of disadvantages. First one, if you want to create a physical server, it will take a lot of days. Time will be wasted. Second one, you need to consume some space. See, if I want to create a server, I need a very big room. Third one, maintenance. So the server need to have 24/7 electricity, as well as it need to have ACs installed. And fourth one is gonna be, we need to maintain the technical team all the time within our office. Why? Because if server is not responding properly, we need to fix it or not, sir? Yes. So having these many disadvantages, we are not going to use on-prem servers. I'm gonna tell about the limitations. Limitations will be, first of all, cost. It's gonna be cost a lot. Second one, it is going to be time consuming. Third one, so maintenance will be very high. And fourth one, dedicated team. We need to maintain the dedicated team all the time. For example, if you are an IT person in your company, unfortunately you have taken the leave. But if server is not responding, it is not working, you need to come immediately. It doesn't matter whether it is morning 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. It doesn't matter. Definitely need to be present there. So again, coming to the physical server point. So these servers will be installed on our own office. So we can call physical servers as on-prem. What are the major limitations we are having? Cost is one of the limitation. Time consuming is a limitation number 2. Maintenance is the limitation number 3. And we need to have the dedicated team. Now tell me, having this many limitations, can we use physical server? No. So initially, lot of the organizations as well as lot of people use the physical server. Why? Because cloud is not available at that time. But once cloud comes into the market, so currently we are using the servers called virtual servers. Which servers? So these virtual servers are nothing but cloud servers. What do we call as? So the better advantage of using the cloud server, you know, whatever the limitations you are going to see on the physical server, every limitation is overcome. Why? Because on-prem servers are going to be maintained by ourselves. So we need to maintain them. I'm writing here. We need to maintain them. I mean, like we need to create them and we need to maintain them. Both. Create and maintain. But whereas virtual server, we can create them and cloud will take care of it. That means cloud team will maintain. So that means, see, for example, if you want to create a server to run your applications, you can create them, but complete maintenance is going to be taken care by the cloud team. That means our cloud provider. Cloud provider means like AWS, GCP, Azure, anything. So if cloud team will taking the maintenance part, so first thing is we need not to have dedicated team. Why? Because if server is not responding from the cloud side, so the cloud experts will be going to take care of that issue. Second one, maintenance. So data centers will maintain the server. We are not going to provide any space for our server. Why? Because these kind of servers are going to create on the data centers. Third one, time consuming. See, if you want to create a cloud server, it will take only 30 seconds. How many seconds? But whereas physical server will take up to days, 1 day or 2 days. Okay. And cost will be almost all. On-prem servers will be having lot of cost. But if you go for cloud server cost will be very less when you compare with the on-prem. So now if we move from on-prem server to the cloud server, we will be having lot of advantages. Why? Because if you want, you can create them. Even though if you create, are we going to maintain them? No. Who is going to maintain them? Cloud team. So this is the first point now we need to understand. Okay, sir, you said about servers are two types. One is cloud server, second one is virtual server. Okay. But can we run applications on both of them? Answer will be yes. Either you can choose on-prem server or you can choose cloud server. Both are easy to run the applications. But which one is better? Why cloud server? Because it is going to maintain by the cloud team. But whereas if you go for on-prem, who will maintain them? We need to maintain. That means this cloud will be opted as number one to run the application. Okay, sir, you said that cloud server is going to be the best one. But now my question is, we are having lot of clouds. We are having AWS cloud, GCP, Azure, DigitalOcean, Salesforce, and lot of them. But among them, which cloud is going to best? Means undoubtedly AWS cloud. Which one? Why? Because AWS cloud will be having 34% of the market share. It's not 1 or 2. That means almost all we can say 1/3 of the cloud market is completely occupied by AWS. And where if you go to Azure, I'm giving the stats here. If you go for Azure, okay, Azure market share is gonna be 20%. How much? But whereas AWS 34. On the other hand, if you go for GCP, so GCP share is very less when compared with both of them. GCP share is 11%. How much? Now tell me, if you see the statistics, which one is top on all of them? That is the reason why we are opting AWS for our DevOps. Of course, you can implement DevOps on Azure as well as you can implement DevOps on. But the reason why we are going for the AWS is, first of all, its market value is very high. And coming to the services, AWS provide lot of services than other clouds. And AWS is the first cloud that comes into the market. So AWS almost all came in the market 2004. Which year? But in some documents, you might see AWS came in the market of 2006. Why? Because initially AWS came in the market of 2004 only. But due to some limitations, okay, they rolled out and again they relaunched the AWS in the 2006 year. But initially, I mean, we can call this unofficially. Unofficially, it came on 2004, but officially it launched on the year 2000. Fine. So now is the type of servers clear for all of you know? Online, can you please confirm is the types of servers clear for all of you or not? All of you can ping me on chat box here. I can see your response. Okay, sir. Now you said that types of servers and coming to the types of clouds also. So now in our course, I'm going to teach the AWS cloud for you. See, in AWS, you are going to call your server as two different names. Of course, you can call them as EC2 or you can call it as. So basically, some people will call it as EC2 instance, but we can split this into two words. Either you can call it as EC2 or even you can call it as, both will be having the same name. Okay. So the full form of EC2 is going to be Elastic Compute Cloud. So guys, it is going to be interview question. Okay. EC2 full form is going to be Elastic Compute Cloud. Again, tell me what is the full form of EC2 here? Elastic compute. But some people are going to make this word reverse. Some people might assume it is elastic cloud compute, but that is absolutely wrong. So you don't do this kind of mistakes. The full form is going to be elastic compute cloud. Okay, sir, fine. Then we are going to use our AWS as our cloud provider. In AWS, we are going to call server as EC2 instance. The full form of EC2 is going to be elastic compute cloud. But now my question is, here currently we are creating server on the cloud. How much time it will take? Mostly 30 seconds to 1 minute. So minimum will be 30 seconds and maximum will be 1 minute. But now if you go to the console here, let me show the console of AWS here. And one more thing, guys, till now you don't know what is AWS account. I'm going to tell you how to create AWS account on the upcoming days. But for as of now, try to see how I am going to create an EC2 instance. So this is how exactly our AWS console is going to be look like. For example, if I go and if I type here EC2, for example, if I type EC2 here, what you are seeing here, virtual servers in the, are you able to see it? Fine. So if I click on EC2, I'll be going to get a dashboard like this. So here in this dashboard, you can see total number of servers that is running is, you can see the values. How many number of servers I'm running here? 1. And how many number of key pairs? 5. And security groups 12. I'll explain what is a key pair and security group later. But if you want to create the EC2 instance, guys, there are totally 7 number of steps to create EC2 instance. How many number of steps? 7 steps. Okay. So now I'm going to teach you how to create an EC2 instance. But before go and create the EC2 instance, again, I'm going to recap what we have discussed till now. So first of all, I started the example with the server. What is a server? Server serves the services to end user. Coming to the type of servers, how many servers we are having? 2. First one is physical server, we can call it as on-prem. Second one is virtual server, we can call it as cloud. Physical servers are going to be created and maintained by physical servers. We need to take care of them. Okay. What are the major limitations? Cost, time consuming, maintenance, and we need to have the dedicated. But whereas for the virtual servers, here we can create them and use them, but cloud team will maintain them in the data centers. Okay. So coming to the cloud part here, AWS will be having 34%, Azure will have 20%, and GCP will be having. So in our course, we are going to use AWS. So servers in AWS can be called as EC2 instance, which full form is Elastic Compute Cloud. And to create the EC2 instance, how many steps we are going to perform? 7 steps. Now let's go and create what are these 7 steps. Guys, here I'm going to tell you a small point for all of you. Just let me share this. For example, it is our server. In the server, our main agenda is to run the applications. What is our main agenda of creating the server? To run the application. So I'm going to write here as apps. So this is our major reason to create and run the servers. But here, this server, I'm going to compare with a small computer. I think all of you know computers like computers, PCs, or even the laptops. So let me go ahead, compare this server with a PC. So you can call it as PC, or even though you can call it as laptop. Okay. So it's my smallest PC. Fine. So what are the major things that you require to have for a computer? Means tell me one thing. All of you are having your computers, right? Computers or even the laptops. What are the most important things that we need to have for our computer? First one will be hardware properties. So hardware, you can call it as like RAM and CPU and ROM. But before that, we need to have something called as operating system. What we need to have? And apart from that, what we need to have? What are the other things we need to have for our computer? You said operating system, correct. You said RAM and CPU. Let me correct it. And later you said it as ROM. These are correct only, but what are the other things you need to have to create a computer? I mean, like to work with a computer. network. Correct or not? Without a safe network, how can you work with the computer? So I'm writing it as network. So these are the primary things we need to have. Of course, there are a lot of secondary things, but I'm going to speak about the primary things only. Again, what are the primary things here? Operating system, RAM and CPU, network, and ROM. See, here I am going to compare my server with a computer. That means whatever the properties required to run a computer, same kind of properties are also going to be required for the server. Of course, we need to have some additional configuration also. But if we go and see, the first major thing for our computer we require is operating system. Which one? So if we go to the steps, in step number 1, okay, for our server, we are going to give as tags. What we are going to give? Tags means we can give names and other tags for our server. See, let me go and create the instance here. It is the page what exactly we are going to see to create a server. Here in our step number 1, we can give our name and tag for our server. So here I'm going to write the same thing. You can give names. You can give name and tag. Sir, what is the purpose of giving the names and tag? Is to identify. Is to see, for example, in our real time, we are almost all having 205 computers in our environment. How many computers? I'm sorry, how many servers? 205 servers. See, if I have 205 servers, these 205 servers doesn't have any name. Then how can I identify them? By all of them are in same region and same city. Then how can you identify? With same configuration. IP address. Who said IP address? No, like I was asking who said IP address. You said, eh? How many IP address can you able to remember? Okay, you are having a lot of contacts in your mobile, right? How many contacts you can remember? We can't remember, right? That is the reason why we are saving the contact with a name. For example, if you have a friend called Lavanya, she has a number. Are you going to remember her number or are you going to save her number? Remember, eh? That means someone is there, huh? Okay, fine. So guys, listen carefully. We cannot remember the IP addresses. Why? Because for 1 or 2 servers, you can remember the IP address. But imagine if we are having 200 servers, then how can you remember the 200 IP addresses? Is it possible? No. If you think it is possible, just go and ask yourself. You are having a lot of contacts on your mobile. How many contacts you are able to remember? It's not practically possible. Okay. So to identify the servers, we are going to use the names and tags. In our real time, we will be having a lot of servers. Web servers we have, app servers we have, database servers we have, proxy servers we will be having, as well as we will be having some other servers called Bashian host. Okay, not 1 or 2. There are some n number of servers. Okay, that is the reason instead of remembering the servers with the IP addresses, we are going to give them a name. So this is the first step for every server. So here I am going to create the server called as Netflix web server. Which one? Netflix web server. Okay. So if you don't want to give like this server name, you can give it as Netflix. In the tags, you can add environment is equal to or like type. Type is equal to web server. Which one? Web server. So guys, but it depends upon like your comfortability. So whether to use a single name or to give the tags. But here for the simplicity, I'm going to give it as single name. So Netflix web server. I'm going to call it as Netflix web server. So step number 1 is done. Now again, tell me, what is the step number 1? Name and tag. Why need to give them? Identify. If you don't give name, what will happen? We cannot identify the server. Okay. So for example, I'll tell you in real time, there are a lot of servers. You are going to deploy the application on application server. But unfortunately, you deployed the application on database server. Is it going to work for you? No. But if we have the name, it is my web server. Are you going to deploy the application on the proper server or not, sir? So to identify this one, definitely we need to give the names. So in the step number 2, I'm going to talk about something called as AMI. Which one? So the full form of AMI is going to be Amazon Machine Image. Okay. So again, what is the full form of AMI here? Amazon Machine Image. Sir, what is the purpose of Amazon Machine Image? I'll tell you in a simplest form. For example, see, I'm gonna tell this on a storytelling way. The best thing I can tell is, for example, it is your birthday. So you invited a lot of friends. So you said that today is my birthday, like we are going to arrange some party. You please come. So what we are going to do, we are going to attend to the party. So in the party, we found that we are having a dinner. So now what happened is, you have two different things now. Whether to cook the food from the scratch. Option number 1. And option number 2 is to order from Swiggy. Which one you choose? Order. Why, sir? Why? Because we don't know how to cook. Correct or not? Tell me, how many of you know cooking food here? 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the reason why Swiggy and Zomato are getting a lot of money. Previously, 20 years back, everyone knows how to cook. But in today's generation, we know only some people who can cook. Okay, fine. So in the two options here, if I go and check, see, in the option number 1, everything. So getting the raw materials to cooking the food, everything we need to take care. If we do like that, I'm going to waste a lot of time and energy or not, sir? But if I order the food, my time will be saved as well as my energy will be saved. Same principle will be applied to the AMI also. For example, when you create an EC2 instance, in this EC2 instance, that means on our server, we need to have operating system. What we need to have? And we need to have some of the softwares. Some of the softwares. And we need to have a lot of packages. So if you observe carefully here, if I install operating system, softwares and packages, it will take a lot of time. Correct? If I install manually. That is the reason why AWS is going to offer something called as AMI. In this AMI, already the operating system and softwares as well as packages are already installed previously. If you go and check here, already in these images, my operating system is installed, my softwares are installed, and even my packages are installed. So AWS is already providing the AMI for us to use. But if I don't use this AMI, again I need to install OS, softwares and packages manually. So which one you choose now? AMI or without AMI? If you don't choose AMI, what will happen? You don't get the OS, you don't get the softwares, and you don't get the everything you need to run manually. But here already these are installed on the AMI. If I simply take that AMI, my operating system, my softwares, my packages will come to the server. It is my step number 2. So in step number 2, we are going to select the AMI. What we are going to have inside the AMI? Inside the AMI, we are going to have operating system, softwares, and we are going to have packages. These are already installed. We can take it and we can use it. If I don't take AMI, what will happen? I cannot create a server. Why? Because server will not run with the operating system. And here one of the major thing we need to understand about is operating system. Tell me, what is an operating system? OS stand for operating system. Of course, everyone know about this one. But what is the purpose of having the operating system? Guys, it's a basic question. I think in your BTech graduation, in the C programming language or computer network or DLD, this is the basic question of 2 marks. I think so. What is the purpose of operating system? Very easy question. Tell me what you know. If it is correct, fine. Even though if it is not correct, I'll correct it. But at least try to speak. Of course, there are response from online. Okay, to run the system, run the software. Okay, fine. So tell me, I got one answer from the online. That was correct. But I want offline to tell me your use about operating system. Correct. So operating system main responsibility is for communication. Which one? Currently, all of are using like all of you are using mobile phones, right? And even they are using laptops. My question is, which language will be used by our computers? Binary language. Binary means 0 and 1. Of course, everyone will tell. Now I'll ask you a question. I want to open a video or like any of the file from my computer. Now computer knows only zeros and ones. But whereas I know Telugu, Hindi, English and any other language from native place. I cannot teach computer Telugu, Hindi, English. And at the same time, I cannot learn zeros and ones from the computer. Now how we can interact? Through operating system only. Which one? Operating system. Without operating system, humans cannot interact with the computer. That was damn sure. Okay. The main agenda of operating system is to provide the communication between human and machine. That can be any machine. It can be a server. It can be computer. Even though it can be your mobile also. In your mobiles, all of you are having OS, right? Without OS, will your mobiles run? No. So here I'm writing operating system main agenda is to communicate between user and machine. I'm going to write as machine. It's not about the server. Okay. I'm going to write it as machine. This machine can be a server or it can be a computer or it can be your mobile phone also. That's it. So guys, here, when coming to the operating system, tell me how many types of OS we are having? Types of operating system. 3, yeah? What are those? Tell it loudly. Windows, Linux. This is going to be very, very, very biggest blunder. Guys, who said Linux is an operating system? Linux is not going to be an operating system. It is going to be the blender. Linux is going to be called as kernel. What do we call as? Or even though you can call it as kernel. Okay, Linux will not come under the operating system. This is going to be lot of people, they are going to do the first mistake in the interview. Tell me which operating system you are comfortable with. If I ask the question, they'll tell Linux. But who said Linux is an operating system? Nobody will tell, okay? So listen, Linux is not going to be called as operating system. It is going to be called as kernel. I'll teach about what is Linux and what is the kernel in the tomorrow session. But as of now, remember, operating system is classified into how many types? 2. Windows and Mac OS. Which one? But here I'm going to take the Linux for our EC2 instance. That means you are going to learn the Linux kernel on the EC2 instance. That is your step number 2. Again, step number 1 will be name and tags. Step number 2 is to AMI. So names and tags are going to use for identification. But whereas AMI is to use the OS, softwares and packages. Fine. Is the step number 1 and 2 clear for all of you? Online, can you please confirm is the step number 1 and 2 clear for all of you or not? If it is clear, I'll go for step number 3. And online, all of you can ping from your chat box. I can see your response directly. Okay. Okay, it was clear. Now here, I'm going to talk about the step number 3. That is called as instance type. Which one? Instance type. Sir, in the instance type, we are going to configure our hardware. What we are going to configure? Hardware. I'll tell about what is the meaning of hardware. See, your hardware will be classified into CPU and memory. Memory in the sense here RAM actually. What is the memory here? Of course, sir, memory means we are going to have ROM also now. But ROM you are going to configure in the upcoming part. But here I'm going to configure the hardware which comes with the CPU and RAM. Okay. Some people will call it as RAM actually. It's not RAM, guys. It is going to be called as RAM. RAM stands for random access and memory. Okay, fine. So here, now if you go and see, just like our server want, I mean, like our computer have operating system, our server want operating system. This operating system come from the AMI. Similarly, our computers require RAM and CPU. Okay. In the same ways, our servers are also going to be required RAM and CPU. Why? Because to compute and to process the data. So in the step number 3, we are going to have the instance type where we are going to configure the hardware like RAM and CPU. By default, in the instance type, I'm going to take T2 medium. What I'm going to take here? T2 medium. Let me write here T2 dot medium. So T2 medium will be having one CPU and 1 GB of RAM. How many CPUs we are going to have? Sorry, T2 micro, it's not medium. Sorry, T2 micro. T2 micro will be having how many CPUs here? One CPU and 1 GB of RAM. But whereas if you go for T2 medium, so this is going to be double. You are going to have 2 CPUs as well as 4 GB of RAM it is. Here RAM is going to be 4 times. So guys, depending upon your requirement, there are a lot of CPUs and lot of memory we can use. For example, if I go and click on instance type here, I'll be going to open this on separate page. If you can go and check, see, up to 100 CPUs also we can use. If I scroll down here, are you seeing 96 CPUs? And how much of RAM? So this also we can use, but this is going to be very, very cost. Okay. But for practical purpose, here we are going to stick with T2 micro, which come with 1 CPU and 1 GB of RAM. So this is completely free of cost and we can use it. But if you wish to use any other instance type, make sure that is free tier eligible. If you can't use free tier, then that is going to be paid one. So here, if you can go and see, what is the instance type I'm selecting here? T2 micro. How many CPUs I'll be getting? And how much of memory? Here memory means RAM or ROM? RAM. So it is free tier eligible or not, sir? Yes. So that is the reason why I have taken T2 micro, which come with 1 CPU and so it is free actually. It is free. But whereas T2 medium is not going to be free. It is going to be paid. That means we need to pay some amount to use it. Like that. And what is the difference between RAM and ROM? Can anyone tell me? First of all, RAM stands for random access memory. ROM stands for read only. RAM store what kind of data? Hey, no. Temporary data. Which one? Whereas ROM stand permanent. This is also called as volatile and non-volatile. Volatile means which can be erased, and non-volatile means which can't be erased. So this is the basic point you need to understand. Of course, it doesn't belong to the AWS concept. It belongs to normal computer concept. Okay, fine. So step number 1 will be name and tag. This is done. Step number 2 will be AMI, Amazon Mission Image, which comes with OS, software and packages. And step number 3 will be instance type. So it comes under the hardware part, which we are going to configure CPU and RAM. So are these steps clear for all of you know? Everybody? Okay. So from online, are these 3 steps clear for all of you know? Can you please confirm? Guys, I'm going to take response from you for every 5 minutes. Why? Because if you understand everything, the classes will be very smooth for you. For example, if you are not able to understand, just raise your hand. I'm going to repeat it one more time. By default, I'll repeat every concept for 3 to 4 times. But even though if you feel it is not clear, then raise me. I mean, like raise a hand. Even online, you can raise the hand. Okay. So clear. So now we are going to configure the step number 4. So what is my step number 4 here? Key pair. Which one? Guys, you can see all the steps one by one. So are you seeing the key pair here? So key pair, main purpose is to log in. What is the main purpose here? Login. For example, see, if you have a computer, it doesn't have any password with it. Anybody can use your computer or not, sir? If anybody can use your computer, what will happen? You don't have any password, so anybody can take your computer and anybody can able to do anything. So you will be have the chance to lost entire data. But what if your computer is having a password? If I take your computer, am I able to log in? No. Here also for the key pair, the main purpose of having the key pair is to log in. What is the main purpose? Just like our computers are having the password, for security purpose login. These servers will be having the key pair. So key pair is going to be very, very lengthiest password what I can say. For example, if I open my key pairs folder, so it is the folder where I store all my key pairs. If you want to see the length of the key pair, it is how it is going to look like. Are you seeing the key pair here? Sir, password means we can able to remember, but key pair, can anyone able to remember? It is the safest way or not, sir? Okay. While connecting to my computer, if I have this key pair available, then only I can be able to log in, or otherwise I can not able to log in. By default, all the key pairs will be saving on our local laptop only. Where it is going to save? If you want me to show, see, here I am going to create a new key pair call. The key pair name will be ABC key pair. For example, I am taking, okay. So if I click on create key pair, okay, I'll be having two types of keys. One is public key and second one is private key. Of course, in private also we have PEM and PPK. If I click on create key pair, now if you can go and see, is key pair on my local computer or not, sir? That means if you want to connect to this computer, you need to have this key pair. Currently, where is the key pair? In my local laptop. That means only from here can I able to connect or not, sir? That's it. So coming to the particular point called key pair, it is mainly for login purpose. And coming to the types of key pairs, it will be having two types. One is public key. One is public key. Public key is going to maintain by AWS. And second one is going to be private key. Who is going to maintain private key? User. That means where is currently my private key stored? On my local computer only, right? That means I need to maintain. Of course, again in this private key also we are going to have two types. One is PEM key. Second one is PPK. So PEM stand for private enhanced mail and PPK stand for putty private key. So I'll explain this later deeply. Okay, what is PEM and what is PPK? How to convert the PEM into PPK. But as of now, just remember key pair main purpose is to login. And coming to types of key pairs, how many types we are having? Two types. One is public key, which is going to maintain by AWS. Second one is private key, which is going to maintain by user. Okay. So again in the private key, how many types we are having? First one is PEM and second one is PPK. That's it. So this is our step number 4. Again, step number 1 will be name syntax. Step number 2 will be AMI. Step number 3 will be instance type. Step number 4 will be key pair. Now, currently, I'm going to teach you about step number 5, which is very, very important for our server. That is networking part. Which part? In this networking, we are going to have mainly two things. First of all, VPN, that is commonly called as VPC in the cloud. Second one will be security groups. So I'm going to write here about VPC and security group. So shortcut will be SG. Security groups. And by simply you can call it as SG. Fine. So here first of all I'll tell something about VPC. So forget about the VPC. Talk about VPN for some time. I think all of you are knowing about VPN, right? What is the primary function of VPN? Huh? Changing the IP address. Okay. For what purpose you need to change the IP address? Okay. So let me explain on this way. When is the last time, like first of all, how many of you use VPN here? Only 1, 2, 3. Okay. So when is the last time you used the VPN? At lockdown time, and you? Huh? 1 year ago. Okay. So at what purpose is it that VPN? For PUBG. So all of us, I think so definitely we know about PUBG, right? Expected answer is PUBG only. Okay. Even I expect the same answer. Fine. So this VPN main purpose is to change the location. For example, in the lockdown time, the PUBG got banned in the India. But the same PUBG is acceptable in the US countries. Like let's take Australia or any of the US country. So now PUBG is available on the Australia, but not in India. But if you want to play PUBG, are you going to travel to Australia? No, simply we can download the VPN and we can connect to the Australian network. So the main purpose of the virtual private network is to access the remote network. For example, I am on India, but I want to connect to the Australian network. So I can use here VPN. That will connect my device to any of the network from any of the place. So in the same way, in AWS, we are going to use something called as VPC, that is called as virtual private cloud. Main purpose is to provide network connection to my servers. For example, currently you launched a server on the Northern Virginia in USA. But if you want to connect to that server, are you going to go to USA for it? No. So this main purpose of VPC, that is virtual private cloud, is to provide the privacy for our resources, security, and isolation. What is the meaning of isolation? Separation. So this VPC will provide the privacy for our servers, security, and third one is gonna be isolation. Guys, VPC is a very big concept. We cannot complete the VPC in just 1 or 2 minutes. We will take a separate session about the VPC in the upcoming classes. But as of now, just remember, this is to provide the privacy, security, and isolation for our servers. Not only for our servers, our entire AWS resource. But before that, remember, by default, AWS will provide the default VPC, which we don't use in real time. So we will use our custom VPC as per our requirement. But if we talk about the types of VPC, in interview, it is going to be a question. First one will be default VPC. Which one? Which we don't use in real time. And second one will be custom VPC. That means we can create our own VPC based upon our requirement. And in the networking part, the second thing we are going to discuss about is security groups. Security groups main purpose is to allow the traffic. What is the main purpose? Allow the traffic. For example, see, you have your server running here. I think some people know what is the port number of Tomcat. What is the port number of Tomcat? 8080. What is the port number of Apache? 80. See, in my server, in the Tomcat, my application is running. Now, if I want to access this application, I need to connect to the port number 8080. Which port number? 8080. So, this 8080 port number is going to be opened by this security group. In the security group, if I don't open the port, I cannot able to connect to the application. The best example I can tell is, so while coming to the class, I think you have filled the form, right? So you will be having your roll numbers. What you are having? Roll numbers. If you enter your roll number in the sheet, you can come to the class. But if you don't enter your roll number, will you able to come to the class? No. Here also for the server, we need to specify the port number. If I give the port number, then only I can be able to connect to the application. But if I don't give the port number, I cannot able to communicate with the application. But here, where can you allow the port? Means I can allow the ports on the security groups. For example, if you can ask me, here if you can go, you can see the option called edit. Which option I can see? In the edit, I can give the security group name as Raham. And in the type, instead of SSH, put all traffic here. What I'm going to put? If I put all traffic, I can be able to communicate with any of the service. Okay. By default, these port numbers will be having port range. I can tell about here port range. The server port range will be 0 to 65,535. So in this range, we will be having lot of ports. So for web server, port number will be 80, and for app server, port number will be 80. So if I want to connect to the web server, I need to give port number 80. Or if I want to connect to the app server, I need to give port number 8080. So instead of giving the port one by one, if I give all traffic, means I can be able to connect to the port number 0 to 65,500. That means I can be able to access any kind of service. Okay. Here the major port number you need to keep note is SSH. Which one? Use it to connect to the server. That means if I want to connect to my server, which port I'm gonna use? SSH. And the port number of this SSH is gonna be 22. Without having that SSH, that means secure shell, full form will be. What is the full form? If I don't have secure shell port number 22, I cannot able to connect to the server. If I cannot able to connect to the server, how can I work with it, sir? Is it practically possible? No. Again, I'm repeating this one more time. So security group is to allow the traffic. So by default, the security group will be ranging from 0 to 65,500. And that means if I want to access any service from the server, any service, I need to give the port numbers. What is the port value here? 0 to 65,535. But among them, the primary port number we need to conclude is here SSH. What is the full form here? Secure shell. What is the port number here? 22. So what is the main purpose of using this one? To connect to the server. So is the networking part clear for all of you know? Online, can you please confirm is the networking part clear for all of you or not? Okay, fine. SSH. So Janvi, it is the port you need to connect to your computer. If you don't have this port number enabled, you cannot connect to your server. That's it. Fine. And the last, I mean, like a sixth step will be the configuring of storage. Which one? So storage in AWS can be called as EBS volume. The full form will be elastic block storage. Elastic block storage. This is what we can call as ROM here. Which one? By default, we will get 8 GB of EBS volume. How much of GB? But maximum, we can give 16 terabytes of data. So default and minimum will be 8 GB only. If you select any server, less than 8 GB, we cannot give. Minimum, we should give 8 GB. And what is the maximum we can give for our server? 16 terabytes. Which one? And coming to the storage, we are having two types, SSD and HDD. I think you are comfortable with SSD and HDD, right? Okay. Again, this is also going to be a separate concept where we are going to discuss in the upcoming days. So if you can go and see here, are you seeing the default of 8 GB configuration? But for a free tier, we can use up to 30 GB of free. Of course, I'm taking here 8 GB only, but up to 30 GB, our complete EBS value will be free. But if it is more than 30 GB, we need to pay for it. Okay. Here I'm writing this point up to 30 GB. Up to 30 GB. It is free. But if it is more than 30 GB, we are going to pay amount for it. So this is the concept of storage. So storage in AWS can be called as EBS volume. Simply we can call as elastic block storage, or you can call as volume also. By default, we'll be getting 8 GB of EBS volume, and maximum you can get up to. But for the free tier, up to 30 GB, it is completely free of cost, and we are not going to pay any single penny for it. Of course, if you want 100 GB also, we can take it. But for that purpose, we need to pay the amount like that. So it is the step number 6. Now, which step is pending means here? Last step. This is what I can call as summary. Of course, there is something called as advanced details. This we are going to discuss on the upcoming session, not now. So once if we configure all of them, so straightly you can go and you can click on see the summary here. Summary means how many servers I'm creating here. One, no sir, if I want 10 servers, put 10 here. Now you can get 10 servers. But we don't require that many servers here. As of now, I'm going with the single server. Next, which AMI I have taken, which instance type, and which means security group here, which storage, all you can see it here. So this is the complete details of our server. So again, guys, I'm going to repeat each and everything for you one more time. So to create the server in AWS, we are going to call server as EC2. What is the full form of EC2 here? Elastic Compute Cloud. How many steps we are going to have here? 7. What is the step number 1? Name and tag. Why we need to use step number 1? To identification. Step number 2 is AMI. What is full form of AMI? Amazon Mission Image. What we have on AMI? OS, softwares, packages, already installed. We can take it and we can use it. And what is the primary functionality of operating system? To communicate between user and machine. If you don't have OS, can I work with my computer? Not only computer, even laptops or even your gadgets, even your mobiles, everything. Step number 3 will be instance type. What we are going to configure here? Hardware like CPU and RAM. So by default, we can take T2 micro, which come with 1 CPU and 1 GB of. It's completely free. But if you go for T2 medium, 2 CPUs will get and 4 GB of RAM. More CPUs, more RAM, but it is going to be paid. What is the difference between RAM and ROM? RAM is volatile, ROM is non-volatile. So step number 4 will be key pair. What is the primary function? Login. How many types of key pairs we are having? 2. First one is public. It is going to maintain by AWS. Second one will be private. It is going to maintain by user. Again in private key, how many types we are having? 2. First of all, PEM. Second one will be PPK. And step number 5 will be network. Here we are going to configure VPC and security groups. VPC main purpose is to provide privacy, security, and isolation. Types. By default, we have one VPC, but in real time, we are going to use our custom VPC. And security group primary function is to allow the traffic. Traffic means our request actually. Whatever the user send and user receive, that is called as request and response. So both together, request and response can be called as traffic here. And what is the port number here? 0 to 65,535. And what is the primary port here we need to work on? SSH. So port number will be 22 and this is used to communicate to the. If I don't give SSH, what will happen? I cannot connect to the server. Okay. So step number 6 will be storage. So storage in AWS can be called as EBS volume. Full form is elastic block storage. By default, how much of GB we can get? But what is the maximum limit we can use? 16 terabytes. Until 30 GB, it is completely free of cost. So it is a step number 6. And step number 7 will be summary. Summary means whatever you have configured, you can check it here. Okay. So name, I am giving it as Netflix. Okay. So AMI I have taken as Amazon Linux 2. Of course, you can take 2023 also, I can take 2. Instance type I am taking here T2 micro. And after that key pair, I already given a key pair called ABC key pair. Okay. So I can use the same key pair. And here security group, I have given the security group called Raham. And by default, you have only SSH. With this, I can able to communicate to the server. But if I want to get the request or response, if I want to access the applications, I need to give here. As of now, I'm giving all traffic, but in upcoming days, I'm going to show you how to customize this as per the server. Next, by default, it is 8 GB, but maximum for free tier, how much of EBS volume I can use? For free tier. Once you configure like this, if I click on launch instance, automatically my server is going to be launched. Wait, here already the security group name is already exist. Wait, let me give some other name. Here it is telling that already have the name called Raham. So I'm going to give the name as Raham1. So same security group names, we cannot take it. Raham1 is also exist. Okay. Let me launch it one more time. Fine. I'll be launching it very quickly. Name of the server will be Netflix. So AMI I have taken as second AMI, Amazon Linux 2. And coming to the instance type, T2 micro and key pair. Already we create a key pair, so we can use it. And coming to the security group, already I create a security group with all traffic. Click on launch instance. So now if you click on this ID, you can be able to see your instance running. Okay, by default, it will come with pending status, but after 30 seconds, you can see it is live and running. And one more thing, once you create a server, you can connect to the servers on 2 different ways. How many ways? One is by the browser. From any browser, you can connect to the server. Second one is by terminal. As of now, in the beginning of our course, I'm going to show you how to connect with the browser. But in the upcoming days, I'm going to show you how to connect with the terminal. So terminal, you can use Mobaxterm, Putty, or Git Bash. Any terminal you can use. and even bash shell also. So if you can go and see, is it running now? Now, if I want to connect to my server, process will be pretty straightforward. Are you seeing the connect option here? It is currently on which state? Disabled. Which state? If you click on this server, is it enabled now? Simply click on connect. And in the first option, you can see one more connect. That's it. Now, automatically, you can be able to see your server on the browser. Are you seeing your server? Now in this server, you can run your applications, okay? For your understanding, I'm gonna run a small script here. In this script, you have the application already installed. So if I go to GitHub, Raham Sheikh, and there is a repository called all setups, here you can go and you can see the Netflix here. So in this Netflix script already, I have configured my code here. So if I copy this code and if I run my script here, automatically I can see the Netflix application running. Let me show it for you. So the moment if I run the script, are you seeing the public IP address here? So guys, this public IP address will change. If I stop the server and if I start it, automatically that public IP address will change. But in real time, we use elastic IP. Elastic IP means once if you give a IP, that is not going to change forever. So I'm gonna copy this public IP address. And what is the port number of Apache? 80. If I give port number 80, hit enter. Automatically, am I able to see the Netflix application or not, sir? So this is how you can create an EC2 instance and how to deploy the application. Now, even though if you open your mobiles, all of you are going to get the same application. All of you open your mobiles once. Just type this IP address and port number 80 and HTTP and all is not required. So here I am just giving the public IP address and port number 80. Even for online, I'm giving the same thing on your chat box. You can open your chat box and you can try this one. So online, I have given the IP address for you with port number. Open any of the browser and type the same IP address here. All of you got the application here? How this application is running means here I have given the port number 80. In the all traffic range, we have port number 0 to 65,000 or not, sir? So 80 is in between the port number. So if I give all traffic, I can able to access any kind of application. That's it. So guys, here if we can see, the application deployment is done and you can see the live logs. Live logs means how many users are using my application, I can see it. Even though if you want to check how much of stress that I am going to give for your server, I'll show you the live thing here. Let me give a second. So basically there is a command to check the load of a server. So in real time, once you deploy the application, you are going to check the load of server. Are you seeing the load of server here? Of course, it might be visible very small for you. Just give me a second. I'm going to show it on the browser. Let me open the MobaXterm. So in real time, once you deploy any application, so we need to check the load of the server. What we need to check? So how to check the load of any server means we have a command called htstop command. Which command? If you go and use the command called htstop, you can check the load of any server. Let me go and connect to my EC2 instance. Give me a second. So guys, it is our terminal. So already as we discussed, we can connect to our server from either terminal or from either browser. I shown you how to connect from the browser. So this is the way how you can connect to the terminal. But of course, I'm going to tell you how to download the terminal in the upcoming class. So don't worry it for as of now. So I'm going to connect to my EC2 instance in the terminal. Why? Because browser I cannot able to zoom much. Okay, but this terminal we can zoom as per our requirement. So currently the terminal that I'm showing you is Mobextem, but there are a lot of terminals like Putty and Git Bash and even your PowerShell also. From anywhere you can connect to the EC2 instance. But among all of them, I'll highly prefer to use Mobextem. Why? Because Mobextem will have a lot of advantages when you compare with other terminals. So sudo -a, if I give the command htop, are we able to see the load of my server or not, sir? Currently, my memory 1.3 GB, 1.3 percentage of my memory is consumed, as well as CPU, and my memory out of 953 MB of RAM, almost all my 120 MB of RAM is consumed. Why? Because my application is running and users are using my application. Okay. So this is the way how exactly you are going to check the live load of server. So guys, basically here you need to understand one thing. Whenever if you go to interview, so in interview they are going to ask some technical questions like scenario based questions, we can call it as. So how can you check the load of a server? Okay. So this is the way how exactly you are going to check the load of any server. So in our course, apart from the concepts, I'm going to show you the real-time troubleshooting techniques, as well as the real-time activities, as well as most importantly, scenario-based questions. Why? Because subject you can learn from anywhere, but scenario-based questions as well as troubleshooting, you need to keep focus on more. Already we discussed by this course, how much of experience we can get? Minimum 3 years of experience you can get. Why? Because a lot of my students here previously who has taken the course here, now they are working with some experience in a lot of companies. Okay. Why they got offer as a experienced people means they know how to troubleshoot any issue. So from the beginning of the course, I'm going to teach you one troubleshooting technique per day. Why? Because if you learn troubleshooting, your knowledge is going to be the next level. So today I show you how to troubleshoot the live load of a server. Now tell me, if somebody asks you how to check the live load of a server, which command you are going to use there? Htop command. Which command? And one of the alternate command is going to be top command. Which one? If you give top, it will come like this. But if you give htop, your output will seem like this. Which one is good to see? Top or htop? Htop. But both will give the same output for you. So that's it. So by this, we can conclude today's session. In today's session, completely we focused on which concept? About the server. So I shown you what is the meaning of server and types of servers and how to create the server. Okay. So since it is the beginning of our course, I just shown you how to create the server. In tomorrow's class, I'm going to tell you how to differentiate types of servers and how to install the different types of softwares in different types of servers. Now, before I go and ask you the doubts and queries, my first question for all of you. How's the class for all of you? Is the class clear for all of you? Yes. Okay. So from the online, can you please confirm how's the session for all of you today? All of you can ping your response from the chat box here. Okay, guys, it was very great response from all of you online. So everybody is getting like it was great and clear. Fine. So just like we have our day one session of practical. So daily we are going to have the same type of teaching. So each and every concept I'm going to repeat at least 3 to 4 times. After that also, if you are having any doubts or queries, you have the chance to speak with me. And one more thing, in the 1.5 hour session, first to 70 minutes will be the class and the next to 20 minutes will be the complete interactive part. That means from 4:30 to 5:40, completely we have 70 minutes of class. But from 5:40 to 6, completely doubts and queries part. Why? Because here you came to interact with me, right? So I'll provide 20 minutes of time to interact with me, even for offline as well as online. What are the queries and what are the doubts you are getting? You can ask me freely. Okay. And even though if I repeat a concept for 3 to 4 times, but still if you have any query, you can ask me. Don't hesitate to ask me any kind of doubt. Why? Because all of you are here to learn. And my responsibility is to make sure that everyone is leaving the class with the full clarity of the concept. Okay. And apart from this class, I already said we are going to have the lab. That means after the session or before the session, you can go to the lab and you can practice. So daily from morning 8 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. we have the labs available. You can come at any time. I'll come to the lab and I'll interact with you. As well as apart from me, we have the mentor team. If you are practicing any kind of doubt, I mean like if you're practicing any kind of concept, if you are getting any doubt, we will be there to help you. Apart from that, we'll create one Telegram channel. In the Telegram channel, you can interact with yourself. Like you can interact with your doubts and queries. So I'll be available on that channel also. So now I think a lot of people are new for today's session. So let me give a course brief for all of you. So guys, our course is DevOps with AWS, guys. It's not only DevOps, it is with AWS also. And for this course, the Linux is going to be completely free. And this course duration is 2.5 months for DevOps with AWS. And for Linux will take around 1.5 months. So that means complete course will be 4 months with including Linux I'm talking. And timings will be 4:30 to 6 p.m. It is completely fixed. And coming to the labs from morning 8 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. Both online and offline can join. For online, we'll provide the Zoom link for you, and offline you can come to this lab. And coming to the fee structure, for only course, it will be 10,000 and you can pay within 2 installments. And if you want the videos recordings, you need to pay additionally 6,000. So this is mandatory thing and this is the optional. If you want to take the recording videos, you can go ahead with it. And in this 10,000 also, we will provide 2 installments. So first installment you can pay after listening to the 5 demos, and second installment after completing of the course 1 month. So in the second month, first week, you need to pay the rest of the amount. That's it. So now if you have any queries or any doubts in this today's class, online you can raise your hands, and offline you can ask your doubts and queries now regarding the course or anything or about today's session. And one more thing, yeah, please. Okay. Web server, app server, and database server. That comes the server architecture. You can create web server, app server, database server either on physical or either on cloud. Okay. That comes with the architecture. So 1 tier, 2 tier, 3 tier. Okay. Either you can create them on physically or you can create them on virtually. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay. So Ismail, you have a doubt? Huh? Fine. Sir, quickly explain the waterfall. So Bhushan, already we explained the waterfall, but tomorrow I'll explain. Okay. Fine. So online, first of all, I'm going to give the speaking option to Vijay Kumar. Vijay, you can speak now. I gave the unmute option for you, Vijay. You can go ahead.
Hello, thank you.
Hello, Vijay. Good evening.
Yeah.
And one
Good
more thing,
evening.
offline, please try to listen to their queries. Why? Because their queries might help you to gain some knowledge. Yeah, Vijay, please go ahead.
So I have a doubt about the last point about the load, how to check the load of the server.
Okay.
Uh, I got confused in the last part how to check the server, and I'm not familiar with the command. Can you please explain me the last
Sure,
part of
Vijay.
it?
Basically, I just shown you the command. Htop is the command, but that command you need to install. That installation part, I'm going to tell on Linux part. Okay. Don't worry as of now. I just shown you by that command, we can see the live load of a server. But explanation part will come in the upcoming session. Here, I just give a glimpse of it.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Fine. So next, Miku Kumar, you can go ahead. And guys, one more point to remind for all of you is, apart from this course, Naresh IT will provide the placement assistance also. Okay. So don't worry, you are completely on the safe hands. After completion of this course, you can attend for the jobs. So our responsibility is to give the job openings for you. So once if you complete the course, Naresh IT will send the placement information for all of you to your emails. So you can apply to them and you can crack. And lot of my students here previously got the job in MNCs as well as startups also. Don't worry about the job. Here your primary goal is to learn the knowledge. If you are good at the knowledge, definitely will get the jobs. So next from wait. Ismail, you can go ahead now, since you have been waiting for a long time.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Ismail.
Yeah, sir. I want to know. I tried doing the IP address and the port number,
Okay.
but it's not working for me. I don't know it's the network or something because like I live in US, so it's not working. Is it like
Have you copy pasted or
something?
like have you typed it, Ismail?
I have typed it.
Just check, like we have a colon at the end. Okay, so please check it and
Yeah,
try it.
I did it. 54 dot 80 dot 159 dot 251 colon 80.
Okay, this one you typed it,
Yeah.
54.80.159.21
Mm-hmm.
colon 80.
Yeah.
Just do one thing. I have given it in the chat box now. So just please go and try to copy paste. If it is not working, try with different browser. Why? Because due to some cache, it might
I
not
did.
load. Just try
I
it.
did. I did it on Safari. I did it on Google Chrome.
So can you please check like whether do you have any pop-up blocks or cache blocks on your server? I mean like on your browser. Please check and try it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I'll do it.
Fine.
Wait a minute.
Next here, Adil Rashid, you can go ahead now. Rashid, you can speak.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good evening, Rashid. Here.
Yes, sorry, sir. I got a few doubts in the today's session. The
Okay.
first is about VPC, sir. According to you, network as compared to VPN and VPC. As we can see, the VPN is used for the abroad and the apps or
Don't worry,
website
Adil
that
Rashid. Guys,
don't
here
work
VPC
with.
is a separate concept. It will take 2 days for the AWS concept. Here, I just give a glimpse of it. So it might be
Yes,
confused
sir.
for here. Why? Because I touch only intro of the VPC. But in upcoming
Yes.
sessions, I'm gonna go for deep dive into it. So don't worry it as of now.
So I just have a little bit confusion there. Is it
Hmm.
used to get the network for our server or something
Yes,
else?
exactly.
Yeah, okay, sir. As for the second route, sir, as we can say in the industry level, if they are
Hmm.
hiring, they don't get the freshers, sir. Actually, we see in 100, there is total of one chance of getting the fresher as a job. But and
It's completely wrong. It's completely
getting
wrong, Adil Rashid. Why? Because see, here for every week, 2 to 3 people of my previous batches are going to place. It's not like once in a month. I'm talking about every week, at least 2 to 3 persons of my previous batch students are going to place. Okay. It all depends upon the how much opportunities you are utilizing. Okay.
yes.
So don't worry, Naresh IT will provide a lot of placement opportunities for it. So as of now, don't worry about your placements.
Okay, sir. Is the Linux chapter also free after the course as
Yes,
for the
completely
previous
free.
batch you had already there?
And like
Okay, sir. It's not.
Sibasundar, placements is both for online and offline. Yes, Sibasundar, it is both for you as well as offline also.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Thank you.
Another
Next, Debshesh Naik, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Sir, I have couple of doubts.
Please go ahead.
While when you hit on the button create instance,
Okay.
so there you supposed to give some numbers like 1 or 10 or 1, 2, anything.
Yes.
So basically, we're creating. Suppose I'm giving input as 10.
Okay.
So I'm creating 10 servers
With same configuration.
Same configuration.
Same configuration, yeah.
Okay, and in each server will be my independent, right? Like I can use all these 10 servers for 10 different applications.
Yes, definitely. You can use for them. Of course, single server also, you can deploy 10 different applications by using a containers concept. This I'm going to touch on the upcoming days for you, okay?
Okay, sir. Sir, one more question. When you showed us that we are using SSH to
Okay.
for connecting to a server, and
Okay.
there we are giving port number from 0 to 63,000 something.
Yeah,
Like that.
65,000.
Yeah. So, sir, you said that SSH one I didn't understand, sir. So I understood that like suppose I have 60,000 requests.
Yeah,
So
I got you. I
60,000.
got you. Let me explain.
Yeah.
So guys, here
Yeah.
listen to the doubt. One of our student is asking about SH. Currently, are you able to connect to your server or not, sir? Once if you able to connect to your server, you can deploy your application. But tell me one thing, if I can't connect to my server, can I able to run my application there? If I want to connect to this server in the security groups, we need to give port number 22. If I don't give the port number 22, I cannot able to connect to my server. Okay, that SSH is extensively used to communicate with your server. Remember, it is going to be the interview question also. By using which port you can able to connect to the server. SSH and port number will be 20. Full form will be secure shell. But in somewhere, in some documents, you can call SSH as secure socket host. this least people will know about secure socket host. Generally, we prefer to say SH, but with the other name also we can call it as secure socket host. I hope it is clear for you, Nayak, now. Fine, guys. By as of now, we can conclude today's session. So in tomorrow's session, I'm gonna brief you about how to install the different types of softwares on different type of servers, as well as I'm gonna start the Linux intro part for all of you. So tomorrow also we are going to have the same session, but not in this classroom. Why? Because this is somewhat of congested for as of now. I'll try to change this class for tomorrow. So I think session was clear for all of you. So let's meet on tomorrow's session with some new topic. Have a great day. Bye all. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And online, if you haven't got the chance to speak today, tomorrow I'll give the permission to speak with me. Thank you.